what is up, Crockxen clan members, fairy tale fans, and others who will find this video. I'm SoresanCrockxen, and today I'm reviewing episode 73 of Fairy Tail Series 2. And I wasn't prepared for this episode. I really wasn't. It was unexpected. Like, I knew the episode was coming, but what happens in the episode, I was not expecting. I was not ready for it at all. I'm a big man. I'm gonna admit it. It was really hard for me to stop crying while watching this episode. It really was. I actually had to pause the episode while I was watching it in order to just, try to calm myself down, because it was that bad. It was that bad. Like, I should probably explain something about myself. I'm a person who doesn't really cry very often. In fact, I rarely cry at all when it comes to real life events. Unless it's somebody or something that I really, really care about, I'm not gonna cry. It's actually, like, honestly, sometimes people question why I don't cry at certain things. So, it's just the way it is. Like, if something happened to my dad or my sisters or my mom or, my dog or my gaming consoles, like, I would cry. I would say if something was done to them, I would get upset after crying, and then I would go into like full rage mode, find out what or who caused it, and then we would get into some serious shit. Alright, just saying. But when it comes to anime, for some reason, when a show has great character development, or just it has great story, I get invested. And when something happens to a particular character in that show that I'm invested in, and that character that I'm invested in, I get very emotional. And that just so happens to be what happened today. And it sucks, because today was not a day I needed to be crying. Because today was a stressful day, because there was a huge storm in the area, and it just, like, we had no power for pretty much the entire day. Because basically the entire, like, west side of the country just gone. Like, the power just went out everywhere. So, unfortunately, I had to deal with that. And it sucked. And Fairy Tail is a show that, it's mainly comedy and action. It's a lot of fun. Crazy stuff, excitement. But when they try to pull some emotional shit, they just ram it in, and there's just no going back, and it sucks. It really does. And like, I need to calm down real quick. So what happened in this episode? I should probably talk about that before I continue on this mini tangent. From what happened in the last episode, Lucy's the only one that got away from Alegria, and so she's the only one that's not covered in goo and stuff like that. Now, the king of the underworld, whose name I do not know yet, made an announcement that if anybody, meaning the grunts, caught and killed the remaining human who was not caught by, who was not able, the one that got away, they would be promoted to one of the 9 demons. But if one of the current 9 demons that are still left, which, mind you, there are a lot, they would get like a gift or like a wish or something. I didn't even really understand what the heck it was. The point is, they're gonna get something. Cool. That means Lucy's fucked. Now, when the whole stuff happened, like, Lucy was being dragged by some strange liquid. I think it was water, but it might not have been water. I don't know. The point is, as soon as I saw that, I was like, my first instinct was, let's summon Aquarius, because that's like the best way to do this, because, Aquarius is my favorite, just saying. And then, like, the grunts come by, and she's able to, like, use her whip to, mess with them, and then she summons Sagittarius, who, handles business, taking care of them, like, sniping them left and right, and, the weird scientist chick comes by, and Sagittarius can't handle her. She actually defeats Sagittarius, and then she summons Virgo to take care of her, and the shark dude, whose name I cannot remember. I don't know why. I don't want to say it's Tempesta, because that wasn't Tempesta's powers. Anyways, he shows up, and then Lucy summons Loki, who, then starts doing business, and then Jackal comes out of nowhere, which was random, But he shows up and he starts messing with them. Just Lucy ends up summoning Aquarius. So now she has 3 celestial spirits out at the same time. That's power right there. That's straight up power. She is gangster right now. And then this causes like a shift in battle, but not really, because then the shark dude attacks Aquarius. She kind of takes her down. Like she's not really out, but she's like hurt. And then Jackal just obliterates Leo and Virgo. They're not dead, but they got sent back to the celestial spirit, to the spirit world. And then Lucy gets surrounded by everybody, and Jackal wants to mess with her because he wants to torture her before killing her, because since Natsu and Happy are out of commission at this point, he can't have fun with them, or he can't get his revenge, I should say. And so he's gonna just take it out on her. And the shark dude's like, we just gotta get this done. Let's just kill her already. And then it looks like they were about to have like a thing. But then he was like, you know, I don't need any of this. And he just left. And the scientist chick was all behind Jackal. She was like, let's do this. Let's torture her. And then Jackal just blew her away. And then last minute, Aquarius saves Lucy from Jackal. But then she starts talking about how she can't beat him. Like, he's too strong. These people are really, really strong. And like right now, all she can do is hold him back, but even that is not for long. She's like, but there is somebody that can beat these people. And she's talking about the Spirit King. I'm like, yeah, let's go, Spirit King time. Let's do this. And she's had summoned him before, like when she closed Loki's gate. So that was the thing, you know. So what happened here is Lucy was like, I don't have his key, and she's like, or Aquita's like, well, there's not a physical key for the king. And I'm like, okay, so what are we doing here? What do you got to do? And she starts talking about how the way to get the key to open the gate for the Celestial King is to make a sacrifice. And I'm like, wait a minute, are we doing some voodoo stuff in here? Some crazy shit? And when she starts explaining what they have to do, it hit me. Because about a year ago, my friend, one of my really close friends, who reads the manga, told me that Aquarius dies. Now, I didn't truly believe, like, I didn't 100% believe him, but he read the manga, so I really had no argument against him because I don't read it, right? But I was starting getting those vibes right here. Now, he didn't give me any context. He just says she died. And, especially after the Wendy fiasco, I honestly didn't even believe him anymore. Granted, I didn't really fully remember everything, but he didn't give me no details. He didn't tell me what happened, how it happened, nothing. And I just felt like this was going to happen. And I wasn't prepared for this. Because Aquarius is my favorite out of all the celestial spirits. Like, straight up. To me, she has the most, if not the second most character development out of all the celestial spirits. Behind the only one I could say beats her is Loki, and that's only because we saw him before he was a celestial spirit, so he kind of had that as his backstory, and then we got to see some stuff with him. But Aquarius is like, she's been with Lucy since like day one. She was with Lucy. Her character development came from not only the present day, but flashbacks of, you know, when Lucy was a little girl, and you know she was her first friend, she was her first spirit, and so when we saw her being developed, it was like really just, it was very emotional. I honestly feel like most of Aquarius' development was very emotional, and that it made me like her as a character. Now, when she starts explaining what they have to do is that she has to break a key. One of the zodiac sign keys. Like, she has to break it. But the only way it'll work is if the bond between the spirit and the celestial wizard is really, really strong, and they're really, really close. Now, of course, when Lucy's like, I can't do this. I can't, you know, destroy one of the keys. You're all my friends and stuff like that. And then obviously, you know, Aquarius starts berating her, like, all this stuff, and starts telling her that what's more important, a key or saving her friends. And of course, Lucy barks back with, well, you're all my friends. And she's like, because she wants her to break her key. And it became a lot worse because Aquarius started having flashbacks. You know, when after she told Lucy to do this. Granted, you know, she starts explaining that she hates Lucy and that this might not work or whatever, but then she starts getting, like, a really, like, you know how when you get, like, pain in your heart, like or something bad's gonna happen, or you don't want something bad to happen, or you don't want to lose somebody, or that kind of idea. She starts getting flashbacks of when Lucy was younger, and all the moments that they had together. Obviously, all the times she got upset, but it was all like in a way where Aquarius kind of she didn't want to go because after this, Aquarius is gone. Like if Lucy breaks his key, Aquarius is just flat out gone. Like we're basically never seeing her again. And well, uh, I told you guys I got very emotional here. So when like Aquarius just starts seeing all this again, and she honestly feels bad. She feels sad because she doesn't want to let her go. And then we have Lucy and her crying and talking about how she loves Aquarius and Aquarius was her first friend. And oh my gosh, I'm trying, guys. And Aquarius just starts getting upset. Like well, not upset, but like sad. And like this is all we get. This is our lasting image of her forever because she's gone. And Lucy broke the key. She summoned the Celestial King. He showed up, was badass. He came in, just cut down the giant monster cube thing. And then we had a nice standoff between him and the King of the Underworld. And that's obviously set up for next week's episode, which I admit is probably going to be badass. But throughout all that, I just could not get over what happened in the previous scene. Because out of all the spirits, it had to be my favorite that just goes away. I mean, granted, it's not like who the hell cares about what I want and what I care about. Like, I'm just a nobody, but, like, to me, she's the best, most fleshed out. Like, don't get me wrong, I love all the celestial spirits. I do. I mean, they all have their quirks, they all have their perks, they all have their cons as well. Like, some of them are cool, sometimes, and most of them are just comic relief, but they're fun to have around. But when it came to, like, character, Aquarius tops everybody. Of course, Loki, I'll give you Loki. If you say Loki, I'll give you Loki. But to me, Aquarius as a character, in terms of celestial spirits, was the best. Because anytime we had any moment with her, yes, she did bring comic relief moments between, the whole hatred thing with Lucy and stuff like that. But everything else was all emotional. Aquarius was used as a build-up to Lucy getting stronger. Aquarius was a primary suspect in the whole mom thing with Lucy and her mom and that type of thing. Aquarius was involved in the Lucy arc when we had to deal with the doll and her family and her dad. And just like that right there is better, and I just think it just makes her better than every other one because while they all have their quirks and they all have their moments, she's been there since day one, and she's evolved throughout the series, and now she's gone. Like if it had been any other celestial spirit, and I'm being serious, if it had been any other celestial spirit, I would have been fine. Because as much as I like them all, she is the best, and she did not deserve this. And I understand the reason why they did it was, she's been with her the longest, so obviously their bond has to be the strongest. But anyways, I don't want to cry in front of the camera because I want to keep some type of integrity. You're probably hearing in my voice already that this is hard. Like, I could not, I was, like, if I had been prepared for this, I honestly would have gone off a little easier. But even then, it was still going to hit me hard. And the worst part about all of this is that when we see next week's episode, they're going to show it again. And they're going to show it again. And I'm not going to be able to do anything about it. And it sucks. It really does. And I hate this. I love and hate the emotional moments of Fairy Tail because they always get me. I mean, for example, like Wendy, when the whole Wendy stuff happened, when I thought she died, that was hard on me. But this was even worse. I love Wendy as a character. I do. But I knew she was going to be okay. I knew she was going to be fine. Especially when Dornable showed up. But this time, it's over. Aquarius is gone. And I'm never going to see my favorite spirit ever again. And it sucks. But anyways, I need to just stop because I'm honestly just going to lose it. And I don't want to. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to leave a link in the description where you guys can watch the episode. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be fine. You're not like me. You're not going to probably emotionally invested like I am. But yeah. So that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm SoresanCrockxen, and I'll see you guys in future videos.